The war room of Fort Claiborne was a place where only ranked officers dared to breathe with confidence. Maps covered the walls. Strategy boards stood like silent witnesses. The tension of leadership clung to the air. Yet among the hardened soldiers and decorated commanders stood a young woman in a plain kitchen apron, carrying a tray of lunch as if she belonged in the background. No one knew her name. No one cared to ask. Until the day a general caught sight of the tattoo on her wrist and everything changed. Asterisk, what city are you watching from today? If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe for more real stories about extraordinary people. They knew her only as Anna. She moved with quiet grace, serving meals during high-level briefings. Most officers barely noticed her. To them, she blended into the routine like the smell of coffee or the shuffle of boots. But there was something in the way she carried herself, a steadiness that did not match the role assigned to her. She never flinched during heated arguments. She never rushed despite the urgency of the room. Her presence was calm, almost commanding, yet she stayed silent. Anna had requested kitchen duty months earlier. She arrived before sunrise, prepared food, and delivered trays. Many assumed she preferred the mundane tasks. No one knew she had once worn a different uniform. No one knew why she avoided attention. The only hint was the faint tattoo on her wrist, always half hidden by her sleeve. A symbol that did not match a cook's life. A symbol some might recognize if they ever looked long enough. The officers often dismissed her. Some whispered jokes when she walked by. A few young captains bragged that they outranked her by dozens of steps, even though her posture made them feel small. One lieutenant once told her she should smile more. She simply nodded and continued her work. Behind her quiet exterior, she carried memories that no one in that room would have survived. One afternoon, the war room filled with tension as a special meeting was called. The general leading the session, Marcus Halley, was known for his stern discipline and sharp perception. He rarely spoke without purpose. As Anna stepped in with a tray of meals, the officers barely glanced her way. She placed plates neatly in front of each commander. They continued their discussion, arguing over tactical routes and resource shortages. When Anna reached General Halley, her sleeve lifted slightly. The light caught the tattoo on her wrist. The general froze. His eyes locked onto the symbol. His voice stopped mid-sentence. The entire room went silent as heads turned to follow his gaze. Anna straightened, unsure why the general stared with such intensity. General Halley pushed back his chair and stood. His tone shifted from frustration to something none of the officers had heard from him before. He asked her where she got that tattoo. Anna hesitated only long enough to measure his intention, then lifted her wrist to view it herself. The emblem was small, but powerful. A hawk with its wings stretched upward. The mark of an elite covert reconnaissance unit, known only to the highest ranks. A unit that had been discontinued after a classified event years earlier. A unit whose members were presumed gone or silent forever. The officers looked confused, unaware of its significance. Halley stepped closer. He addressed her by a name none of them had heard. He called her Captain Anna Raines. The room erupted in disbelief. Officers exchanged shocked glances. Some stood so quickly their chairs struck the floor. The woman they had ignored for months had once outranked nearly everyone present. Anna remained still. She had not wanted this moment. She left her unit after an operation that changed the course of her life. The loss of several teammates weighed on her. She chose to withdraw from recognition and responsibility. Kitchen duty was her way of staying close to the military without facing the ghosts of her past. She did not expect anyone to uncover the truth. General Halley knew her history. He had studied the files of every classified unit, and he remembered the hawk emblem. He remembered a young captain who had led her team through impossible terrain to rescue civilians held behind enemy lines. He remembered the commendations awarded behind closed doors. He remembered how abruptly she disappeared from the record. He asked why she had abandoned her rank. Anna replied with clarity. She said she no longer wanted to lead. She said she had failed to bring all her people home. The weight of that failure shaped every step she took. General Hawley softened. He understood the burden of leadership. He knew that the strongest officers often carried the deepest scars. He told her she had not failed. He reminded her that leadership is not measured only by survival. It is measured by courage, sacrifice, and the willingness to face darkness so others do not have to. He said her disappearance was felt more than she realized. He told her she had inspired soldiers she never met. The officers listened with newfound respect. The woman they once dismissed now stood taller than any of them. Her quiet strength now made sense. Her calm demeanor came from battles fought long before she carried trays of meals. General Hawley then made a request. He asked her to return to service in a capacity of her choosing. Not to lead a unit, not to relive the past, but to guide younger soldiers who lacked the wisdom she carried. He asked her to help rebuild a program dedicated to teaching resilience, strategy, and integrity. He asked her to share what she learned so that the next generation would not fall under the weight of their own mistakes. Anna took a long breath. She felt the heaviness in her chest begin to ease. She realized she had spent years hiding from her story, believing silence was the only way to honor those she lost. But the general's words reminded her that survival carries responsibility. Her scars were not symbols of failure. They were proof of endurance. She agreed, not to reclaim her old rank, but to step into a new purpose, one built on healing rather than command. The officers in the war room stood as she left, no longer ignoring the quiet woman in the apron. They saw her with new eyes. She walked out with her head high, ready to face the future she had avoided for too long. Her tattoo no longer felt like a burden. It felt like a call she could finally answer. She accepted that honoring the past did not require hiding from it. By sharing her story, she could help others find strength in their own struggles. What did this story make you feel? Where are you watching from? Subscribe to Soul Relief Stories for more real stories that heal the heart.